I want to share with you 5 ways to help you clear other people's energy. As a sensitive person, and that you know that you are, perhaps there's been times where you have felt like something may be wrong with you based upon your feeling sad or lonely or even just anxious. But believe me, you're not the only one. This is the whole purpose of this video, to teach you or to share with you the 5 different ways in which you can help clear yourself of other people's energy. As a spiritual channel professionally for over 25 years, I've been engaged to clear the energy of a home and help people to remove themselves from entities that were literally attached to their physical embodiment. And while this may be something that you don't do regularly, professionally speaking, it is something that you want to give consideration to, because oftentimes, as a sensitive person, you're picking up other people's energy that creates an imbalance. This is something that you want to appreciate as the issue. It's interesting to me because most people, when they go into a doctor's office, recognize that the doctor comes into the office and they begin washing their hands, even showing you that they're physically clean to engage with the examination that you've asked for. And yet, from a spiritual perspective, most people haven't learned that it's the same thing as washing your hands before coming to a meal or removing your shoes before coming to the house. It's not just courteous. It's literally allowing the energy to be released so that you can be truly present. As someone who does this professionally, I do it all the time, whether I'm speaking with someone in person, whether I'm speaking with them on the telephone, or even from a personal perspective, just socially. And I want to share with you the importance of being clear so that you can feel, happy, content, and very connected within your own body. So let's start now. The very first thing that I want to share with you is the subject of being aware. Most people, and even people who are in the business professionally, may or may not have understanding that they're carrying other people's energy. And there's one thing, this very one thing, if you get nothing more from this video, please remember this one thought, this one question. And the question is this energy mine? That one question is so significant that I offer it to people all the time because they are choosing to carry someone else's energy, sometimes other people at large, or maybe an event, and they're carrying it, they're walking down through life not necessarily having awareness that is creating a hardship or an imbalance to their physical body and or to how they want to feel. Meaning, instead of feeling sad or anxious because of they're wondering about a job interview that has nothing to do with them because they have a job and they're very happy as a person, and yet these are energies that they're carrying from other people. So this one question, is this energy yours, is something that we want to ask ourselves, sometimes out loud or perhaps even in a written form, to just take a moment of calmness to determine, is it yours? And if it isn't, then we want to proceed with some of the steps that I want to share with about clearing it. So this one question is so important, so don't ever forget it. Is this energy mine? And if you get intuitively that it's not, then let's continue forward. Now, there are many things that people use as tools physically to augment the clearing of energy. As a professional, I have some things that may be a little different. I'm going to share with you one. This is a shungite ball, and it's, 9 inches in diameter, and it's about 23 pounds, and it is very specific to clearing energy. I'm going to set it down again. But I want to share with you because it's something that I have as a spiritual tool that I use to augment the clearing of energy, and it's extremely powerful. Now, there's other things that can be used. This is something that comes from Nepal. It's called Dorje, and it's pronounced Dorje, and it's D-O-R-J-E. And it's a really cool instrument. It can be used in meditation to become clear before you go into choosing to receive. Now, there's definitely more common means to share the clearing of energy, and this is probably, the one that most people are familiar with. And this is what it looks like for most people. They'll go and they'll light a piece of sage, and that's what this is if you're not aware. And they take a piece of sage and they wave it, and that's how they go about the clearing of energy. And clearly there's nothing wrong with that, but there is something more that I want to share with you that is very, very important to you going forward, and that is your intention. So we talked again a moment ago about becoming aware and asking that question, and then of course second to that, if you're going to clear energy, we want to be very clear of your intention to let these energies go. And when I say energies, it could be that of a parent, that could be that of a child, that could be of a circumstance. We just want to be very clear that we need to let it go. And so if we use a tool, and I have some crystals behind me that are, 12 inches in height, and I have a couple of them, I use those as amplifications to clear energy. That's for myself and clearly everyone I'm working with. Now, if you are wanting to do this using, let's say, like sage as a tool, we don't want to just light a piece of sage and wave around the house and call it a day. We really want to give it spiritual intent. And what I mean by that is choosing to be clear, to use the energy, the sage, if you will, which is a smell, and evoke something within us, to use it as a means to clear. Some people may use Lysol, and that would be one way of doing it. But sometimes a candle is used as a means to clear the energy in a room. And sometimes as well, incense. I know for myself, I favor the kind of incense that you would find in a Hindu temple, a very specific kind of incense that's designed, if I can use that term, the intention is to create a clearing so that you can receive in meditative space. So whatever the tool is, whether it's a shungite ball, sage, a crystal, I want to talk about some things that are even more common that most people don't use, and that is water. Water is a tremendous tool to clear other people's energy. That can be used, again, physically to wash your hands. That could be literally to run water over your hands, or maybe even to splash your face, right, to become clear of someone else's energy. Sometimes, if you happen to be near something, like a stream of water, you can put your feet into the water, and it can really, really help. We use the terms ground to allow yourself to become connected to the earth energy as a means to clear other energies that would be conflicting in your past. Becoming clear, though, again, has everything to do with intention. And we want to be super, super focused on the intention to be clear, not allowing anything to be distracting. So if there's something that we're clearing, we want to honor the fact, almost like ignoring that thing, so that we put all the intention and allowing yourself to become, if you will, like that of the light. Which is something I want to talk about as well, because sometimes we use language or words, or with, sage, or with a crystal, or with, another tool would be breathing. We can literally breathe in, that which be described as the light or the source energy, and let go of anything that was not of our higher self. And that's what we're really talking about, aren't we? When we talk about connecting with our energy, our true or our higher self energy, which is absent of the egoic energy or the physical presence. And we don't want that to be marred or conflicted with other people's energy. And this is why, washing or becoming cleansed is really important. Sometimes I do some things symbolically. When I'm speaking, sometimes you'll see me go like this physically to remove other people's energy or even esoteric energy that wouldn't be mine that I'm connecting to. And it's not necessarily a bad thing, to something to appreciate. So if we're using breath as a means to tune in, to take in breath, again, we can do it from an illumination perspective of breathing in the light, which is literal. Think of like breathing literally the light of a candle into your whole embodiment, and to release anything that doesn't belong within you. Now, the body does this naturally, right? Meaning we design that way with breath, and of course, when we eat something, we take in the energy of the thing that we're eating, and we let go of anything that doesn't belong with us. That's how we're designed. And we want to follow that design, again, consistently from a spiritual perspective. So I have a couple more points that I want to share with you. Number 4 is becoming geographically aware within your body where energy might be attached. Now, generally speaking, and this is very, very common, and probably the most common with almost everybody, there is this feeling that can take place in the abdominal area of the stomach, where we're likened to a kangaroo, where we have this little pouch, and we just keep putting more and more and more energy there. And sometimes we create a wall, basically a means of interference which shuts down our ability to feel, which takes you as a sensitive person, and it dulls your ability to receive in any kind of form. That would be emotionally, physically, and clearly from a spiritual perspective, which may not be desired. So becoming aware that we're carrying energy in this particular area is something that we want to give consideration to. So, for example, I will take my hands, and I'll just do it on myself, and I may put that on my stomach and combine that with a breath to take in light and or true illumination source and to offer that to this particular area of my body with the intention, again, very focused intention, to clear any energy that has been gathered in this particular area. And again, think of, again, like the sac of a kangaroo, only the sac happens to be your stomach and ultimately your solar plex. And we want that energy to become clear. And when you do that, you're going to actually feel warmth, you're going to feel better, you're going to feel perhaps even enlightened in terms of feeling lighter within your whole body, not just that particular area. Now, if we take that and we go to the last point, which is even a more advanced technique, that we take like the crosshairs that we would see or that's used in radiology, we want to take that and we want to go to a very specific point within the body to determine if there's a point of attachment where energy has attached itself. Now, to describe this, I want to use an analogy of detailing a car. If we have the surface of a car, and if it's sat outside, let's say in Los Angeles, it's bound to be exposed to, a coke that someone threw by. It could be contamination with smog. It could be bird droppings, all kinds of things that would contaminate the paint of the car. And in that space, as someone who would detail a car, we want to work backwards. And what I mean by that is we want to get the things off of the surface first so that we can get down to the inner layer. So this thought is going to sound a little goofy because most of us are going to think that we want to go intrinsic to clean, which you do. But when you're dealing with the body, we want to be really clear that sometimes we need to start from the outside and begin to work down to what I would call the base layer so that we can really release. So let me describe that for just a moment. So if we're tapping to the body and we are able to go to a certain particular point, and we know that that point is covered, let's say, with an emotional scar, it could even have a physical scar, we want to be very, very mindful to basically say hello to the body that it's okay, that this is the point of attachment. And by the way, it doesn't have to be. Maybe it's something we can't physically see, but we can esoterically see it. And we want to share that this particular point is where something is attached, and we want to go soft. When I say soft, be very, very careful to allow the body to get used to the idea that we're about to remove something. And when I'm doing this with somebody else, I will often ask them their permission, meaning having a continued fluid dialogue with them to clear what I will call the top layer of energy so we can continue getting down to what I will call the point of origin. And as we're coming down to the point of origin, this is where a choice was made, usually of disempowerment, where we connect to something, and that becomes likened to a cord. Where you have a cord that suddenly is connecting to you in this particular way, and a cord is, like what a cord is. It's a state of limitation. And a cord can be, it can have colors, it can have texture, it can be, again, really thick, it can be really thin. And again, what we're doing in terms of clearing energy is we want to recognize it, where it's attached, to create a softening, just an awakening to the body that we want this to be released. And then, of course, we want to gingerly let that piece to let go so we can get down to what I will call the innermost parts of who you really are, which don't need to be attached. But that's a part of this human experience. And this is why something we want to continue to recall as we go through any kind of clearing of other people's energy. So let me kind of summarize what we've talked about. 1, the importance of becoming aware through the question, is it my energy? 2, having awareness that if we use a tool such as sage or breath or water, that we want to do it in combination, this is 2 and 3 together, with focused intention, which is, of course, everything, using this last tool to really offer you the kind of stepping back into what could be described as a state of wholeness. Lastly, as we get more involved in realizing that there's energetic places that energy sometimes collects, like in the solar plex, we want to address that first and be very mindful, like washing your hands continually, that your solar plex is cleansed or clean, like the bottoms of your feet before you go to someone's house. And then lastly, if we're getting very specific, right down to a specific place, that we want to go gingerly, working with your body so that you can get down to the base level, that's the core, and let go of anything that would be disruptive to you being able to go forward. I'm really hopeful this takes you forward and allowing yourself to be in touch with yourself, your higher self, in this realm, but without necessarily having to carry the weights or the frustrations or even the emotional energies of other people, because, of course, there's nothing wrong with you, and this will tremendously help you to go forward in a completely different way. If you have more interest, there's a wonderful little video that I put out that's called How to Learn the Language of Energy, and it's on YouTube right now. Just Google How to Learn the Language of Energy with me, Weston Jolly. Thank you for being in attendance.